I'm Jane Wade with the Distinctive Style magazine, and we're in California today where we have the very good fortune to be interviewing Miss Cloris Leachman.
It's not hard. You just call. If you feed me, I'll be here, anywhere.
Well, thank you so much for having us into your home. We really genuinely appreciate it.
Thank you.
I read your autobiography. It was published last year.
Yes.
And I found it to be just one. It was entertaining, and there were so many vignettes and remembrances. And one of the things that really struck me very early on, you wrote that you had learned something that you never forgot about acting, that it's okay to fall on your behind. You don't die from it. And do you remember what that was in relation to?
Oh, I certainly do. Well, my mother, it's a long story, and I've told it before, but it's wonderful. I was 11, and she used to stand at the sink out in this little brown shingled house that Daddy and Mama built because I was going to be born in the country outside of Des Moines, Iowa, on the east side, on an acre of ground, and in back was a big pasture and cows and a creek that belonged to somebody else, but it was there. And Mama said, she'd stand at the sink. She was little, so Daddy made everything low in the kitchen when they built it for her. And she'd stand there and look out the window, and she'd be facing east. And there was a pretty little tree there, and a barbed wire fence, and an empty other acre, and a little path. And she'd just think of things. And so one of those days, she said to me, Cloris, why don't you see if you can get a ride into town? They're auditioning for a radio show from Drake University. And so, sure. I went down it's a 2-lane highway straight through Iowa, east and west. And you'd go east about a half a mile. And I got a ride. It was kind of a truck stop and maybe a dinette or something. And I came along, and Mama's hanging out the front door, and I'm on the running board of a coal truck. Can you imagine? I got a ride, Mama. I got a ride. Good. I don't even remember. I don't know how I got to Drake University. It was way on the other side, west side of Des Moines. But I did, and I read, and I got the lead, which was the little princess, in this lovely little story that went on every Saturday from Drake University. And about a year later, the man who was doing all of that said, would any of you like to go down to KRNT-KSO and read the funny papers? Well, I want to do that. So that was fun. We did that. And then that summer, there was a summer drama for children, a workshop kind of thing. Uh-huh. And so Kate Goldman, a darling woman, ran it, and I auditioned for her for the birthday of the Infanta. And it was a little Spanish princess. And of course I would be the princess, but I wasn't. I was the ugly little dwarf.
No.
I couldn't believe it. What happened? Didn't she know I'd only play princesses? And so I was the ugly little dwarf, and he has to dance and entertain the Infanta, the little Infanta who's 12 years old. It's her birthday. And I have to be perfect. I can't be pretty good. I have to be perfect. So I said, teach me a dance. She said, no, you. They said, no. You teach me and I'll do it. And I don't know how she got me to do it, but I just twirled around and kind of like a dwarf would do it. And now the parents come. It's the evening show, and they're all sitting in raised seats in this little tiny theater. And I dancing for the little infant, and I twirled and twirled. Well, I fell on my ass. And you don't know when that happens. It's such a jolt to laugh or cry. It could go either way. But the audience started applauding. So I started laughing, and it was really funny. But it's embarrassing. But that's the moment when I found out it's okay to fall on your ass. Nobody's going to kill you. You won't die. In fact, we've all shared something that was maybe an accident, but it's life itself. Right. And of course, in my acting, I like to bring that to any role I play anyway. The real stuff of life the way you're really feeling underneath whatever the story is. So in any script, there's another one that I sort of lay on with it. It's underneath the other one. It's another thing without any words. How you're feeling, where you came from, where you're going, what you want, what you can't have, who you hate, who you love. All of that stuff is all in that.
And bringing that all to that underneath portion or that underneath side that you...
So that's what that came from. It's a long answer.
Well, I always got the impression that that translated not only to acting for you, but it was kind of your philosophy about life, that you can't be afraid to take a fall.
That's true.
You get up and you move on, and
what else are you going to do? You can't
Right.
stay up.
Right.
There's always somebody to give you a hand.
right.
I had a knee operation in December 21st. I remember exactly because Christmas was the 25th, as you all might know. And we were hungry. And we were all in my hospital room. It was the fourth day after my operation on a knee replacement. And well, where to go? Well, we'll order from my favorite restaurant. Every single restaurant that I love is closed on Christmas, except Izzy's. Izzy's is an all-night, 24-hour, we never close kind of restaurant. And I took a bite of the rice, and I didn't have another bite. I spit that one out. And didn't have any Christmas dinner that night. But there is Izzy's. I'm just telling you, if you ever are alone and without food, Izzy's is there to help.
Especially on Christmas.
On Christmas.
You know, you were one of the original members of the Actors Studio in New York.
Isn't that really?
I am
Where's my
amazed
book?
by that.
Is it on the table? Right there, yeah.
I'm totally amazed by that. Did you have any idea
Thank you.
while you were there what kind of impact the people who were coming through there and you yourself as well were going to have on American theater and
We had
film?
no idea. We just were madly in love with this man, Kazan. Oh, he was a fantastic guy. Oh. And I think the single most important thing I learned there, he said, you're responsible for your props, whatever, your objects, whatever, don't, and hearing that, I've become responsible for everything. Now I'm not waiting to be directed or given props or given anything. I have to think, what do I really need? What would make this moment tell it, the most telling, the most interesting or funny or sad or whatever? What would tell it the best? And you find an object. It can be another person, or the way you touch something, or look at something, or what you do with something. Instead of doing it on your face all the time, like old-fashioned soap opera acting, this was different. You did it with an object. If you were really angry, you might just break a pencil you were holding, maybe. Or, that's where it is. Because you cover how you're feeling, don't you? You don't just show how you're, or when you're drunk, you don't show how drunk you are, show how sober you are.
Right, that's exactly right.
But that gave me everything. It was like opening the door into worlds of riches. And every part I play, you have to think, it's new all over again. There are no answers. You open a new door, what do you need? What would tell? And you become a detective and all kinds of things to solve the mystery.
And who were some of the people that you had the opportunity to work with during
Eli
that time?
Wallach. We just did a picture, it was just out, called New York, I Love You. And they put our scene, the last scene of the movie. We're two old Jews going to celebrate our anniversary. And it's just, pick up your feet. I'm picking. You're the doctors. It's just all of that. And the love that's under it, how to show it, and when.
You have worked with so many
A
different
lot.
people.
Julie Harris, I adored her. And when she did, what was the member of the wedding with Ethel Waters. I'm so privileged to have been alive to have seen her do that. I'll just never forget it. Of course, I saw Marlon in Streetcar Named Desire, and I've seen Ethel Merman do two or three things, and Mary Martin, and just privileged to be able to have seen those, and heartbroken to have missed other things that were already past when I arrived in New York.
It had to have been a great time.
Oh.
Just a great time.
I remember walking out of Bergdorf Goodman one almost closing time. It was dusk, freezing cold winter, December, and a snow had fallen, and I was wearing the most, so funny, a beautiful green wool suit with little covered buttons up here, very tight fitted, and long. It was the new look was in. It was long after the war. They brought the new look in, which was longer. And the shoes matched everything, and I even had green stockings on. And I had a beautiful beaver coat, the prettiest in New York, of course. And I smelled wonderful. I had probably a Bergdorf Goodman number 5, whatever it was. And I walked out, and the air, this wonderful, freshly fallen snow, it was so clean and clear, and the lights were going on. It was so beautiful. And I'm in New York. And then for me to go, I would do live television during the day, and then I'd go and do some play on Broadway at night. And I'd always have a fight with, never spoken, there was a tall woman on Madison Avenue at 81st Street, going to catch a cab. Every time I had to get to the theater, right now, I'm late. And here, there was no cabs, all gone, terribly, hurry, hurry. There was one 3 blocks away, and I had learned how to with my voice, how to be heard 3 blocks away because I had to be in the theater. And I didn't even have parts in high school in plays because they couldn't hear me over the front of the stage. But I could get a cab, and he'd go, you could hear the cab stop. She'd pick up this long dress she always had on and high heels, and she'd start running, and I had little short legs, and I'd be running as, she always got it. She always got the cab.
I wanted to ask you, you have been vegetarian for a number of years now. How did you make that choice?
I was 35 years old, and I suddenly got something, I couldn't breathe at all. I'd sleep for about 45 minutes for the whole night. The rest of the time I was just gasping and desperate. Tried everything. I'd jump in the shower and stand in that for a couple of hours. Nothing helped. I went to doctors, to psychoanalysts, to anything you could think of to try. Well, it was asthma at 35. And my knuckles, if you shook hands with me, I'd scream with pain. And I had hay fever so bad I was taking 4 pills a day. And I loved my mother-in-law, who was Mabel Albertson. She was Darren's mother in Bewitched, the little woman, not the witch, the little blonde woman who always has a headache and everything. But she was my darling, wonderful mother-in-law, and we always had breakfast together. And I said, Mud, I can't put another thing in until whatever's in me comes out, and I don't know what it was. And we always had a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice, so she gave me that. And I loved that. Anyway, she called a friend of hers who was a kind of a wellness person from Europe, a woman who had taught herself about all these healthy things. And she said, well, just keep her on the juice all day and alternated with water and a different juice every day. So that's what we did. And after 4 days, absolutely gone. The arthritis was completely gone. I never had it again. You heard me play the piano today.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah. And then the asthma was gone completely. And the hay fever was gone, no more ever again. And I liked it so much I stayed in it for another 6 days, so 10 days altogether. But really 4 days is all you need. And it transformed my life. And I remember I was reading a book on archaeology, and I remember, oh, I guess I won't be eating meat anymore. It just went through my body, some feeling, and I said it out loud. But I remember going home and standing in my back area there on the used brick patio, and all these beautiful trees in the sky and night. And I remember feeling these words specifically, I am at one with the universe. I mean, it's the way I was feeling. I was so cleaned out and so pure that I could be one with the universe. And it was a very important moment, and it determined the rest of my life.
Well, last year, you did a collaboration with PETA.
Mm-hmm.
And the outcome of that was just a stunning, stunning poster of you in this amazing gown of red cabbage and leafy greens, and it was so beautiful. And I'm sure that it had such an impact. Did you enjoy the shoot for that?
Well, we didn't know. I had no idea. This woman showed up with this dress. It was kind of damp. It was real lettuce, red cabbage, all made into a dress. And she put it on me, and we had to get clothespins and make it fit me. And this green part came around the top and down the front. It was beautiful. Really, I loved it. Wasn't it pretty?
It was gorgeous. And your pose and your posture was so classic.
It was fun. I really loved doing that, yeah.
I know that you...
I'm not a complete vegetarian, so especially if I'm on the road, I will have some fish. Because you can't always get freshly made vegetables that weren't made at 6 in the morning. By the time it's nighttime, it's over.
Well, I know that you have to run out this afternoon yet, and I really want to thank you for taking this time with us. I'm so pleased
You're so
to have
lovely.
had the opportunity
I'm
to
very
meet
delighted
you.
to be with you, too.
And I also understand that you're doing a one-woman show right now. And the audience seems to be totally astounded by the fact that at the end of the program, you give your audience a hug. And so since we're closing, I was wondering if I could have a hug.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Thank you. You see, I get a hug, too.
Yes, you will. I'm going to take this off.
I'm going to take mine off.
Okay.
If I can find it, I'm going to feel for it.
Let me help you. There you are.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you very much.
I always get to be on top. You'd like to be on top, wouldn't you?
Oh, there. Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.